and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is the final part of my Pirate Ghost series, and in this video we're going to touch up the inking and add the final ghostly looks. If you want to know more about traditional materials that you can use for this project, check out part 1 of this video where I have a list of the traditional materials that you can use, and also I explain what Inktober is. The app that we're going to be using for Windows is Rebelle 2, and this is a watercolor simulation app, and it also simulates ink effects and acrylic paint effects. And I'm using also the program PureRef, which is a reference program that floats above your regular program, and you can check out that program and download it, and it's free. So I'm doing a few final touch-ups here on the ink and just kind of smudging it in. And what I'm going to do now is start adding the ghostly effects, and I want kind of a thin green glaze over the top of the pirate here. And you can use different textures. In Rebelle they have a few different textures, and they have one that's a sponge texture, and that gives it a really kind of a real ghostly look. So I'm using that, and make sure that you do this on a separate layer, because otherwise you'll mess up your painting. So make sure that it's on a separate layer, and you can adjust the opacity and make it look more transparent. And if you're doing this traditionally, make sure that your ink is waterproof for this step. And you can do a very thin dry brush glaze over your whole painting. But again, you have to make sure that your ink is waterproof here. Otherwise it will smudge. So you can go ahead and do that traditionally that way. But here I'm using a separate layer, and as you can see, it's making the watercolor run here. And so I decided that I've made him a little bit too dark, so I went back with a soft eraser and erased his features out a little bit, but left the other green all around him. And then I'm going back with the sponge brush again, and I'm looking at the different textures. There's another sponge texture that you can use. And so I'm trying to kind of smooth those out, and you can use your blending brush to smooth out the watercolor effects there. And as you can see, it's still rendering the watercolor there. And then also go over your ship, but use a light blue color, and you can also use that bluish color over your pirate too. That just helps add more ghostly and foggy effects. And so you want to go ahead and just use bluish color and green color both, just to go over the top of him and make him look more ghostly and foggy. But make sure that you go over your ship too. And it doesn't hurt if you go over the background of the sea, because you want him to be in the foreground like he's in a ghostly cloud or a vaporous cloud. And if you want to stop your watercolor from running, you can go ahead and hit the button in the layers, the little wavy button in the right hand left corner above the layers, and that will stop your watercolor running. And so I'm just kind of playing around with textures a little bit more, adding a few final things here. And again, I use that button to stop the watercolor from running. That instantly dries it. It's kind of like using a blow dryer. And I'm just kind of looking at the picture and seeing if I like that. And I decided that it was pretty good. I liked the look that I got, and it looked sufficiently ghostly, so I went ahead and just signed it. And you can do that with your pen. Just go ahead and make your signature with your pen. And I did a few more touch-ups, because I always do after I sign it. It doesn't mean that I'm through. But I was pretty much finished with it after that, and I was pleased with this one. It gave a sufficiently ghostly and scary look. So this is the end of my Pirate Ghost series, and this was the painting that I did for Inktober of week 2. Stay tuned for a brand new series coming soon, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions for new videos, just go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will catch you later.